What factors played into this decision for you? Why now?
I mean, you never think you're going to leave until, right? I mean, what attracted me was the mission, the Vincentian mission of DePaul. Saint Vincent de Paul is the patron saint of charity. So their mission is to serve the underserved, marginalized, immigrant, poor populations, and use higher ed as the vehicle to transform the lives of these different groups. So personally, that was very attractive to both me and my wife. And as I got to know more about DePaul, I realized that the values of the university were very closely aligned to our values as individuals. They're very student profile actually very similar to Seton Hall. For example, 28% I think of our freshman class this past fall were Pell eligible versus 35%. 23% of our freshman class, 25 is typically first generation. There's 30% first generation college going. Okay? So similar profile, except theirs is probably a little further along than we are in terms of the profile of the students. So that was very attractive, I mean, to us as immigrants to this country.
So with so many similarities, I guess, what pushed you over the edge now, and that this is going to be a better opportunity, this is a good career move for yourself?
Well, I mean, opportunities are what you make of it, right? I mean, the one question I think I saw was, there are benefits. Well, I mean, if you're thinking necessary, I mean, I've never taken a job because of the money involved. I've taken jobs for less money, actually, which doesn't say a whole lot since I'm a former business need. It's about whether or not you think you're going to be happy in the position. This is my 10th year at Seton Hall, and sometimes people forget I've been here 10 years. I mean, 3 years I was the chief academic officer, and this is my 7th year as president. And I don't believe in lifelong presidencies. I think it's not healthy for the institution. It's not healthy, I think, intellectually or professionally for the individual. Okay? So Seton Hall is the longest place I've been in one place, and that's 10 years.
Now, your daughter has residency out in Chicago, correct? Yeah. Did that have anything to do with the decision?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I guess it's an added bonus.
Okay.
But she may be gone in 2 years,
right?
Because she'll be applying for a fellowship next. So if I was to make that the sole determinant of my decision, then I'm looking at a very short term.
Right, it would be a very long-term outlook.
Yeah, so I look at things long haul. Chicago is a great city. We used to vacation in Chicago when we lived in Arkansas. And I'm not sure if you've been to Chicago, Gary, but we like Chicago. It's a very walkable city. It's nice, compact. It's a very clean city in the sense that there's not a lot of trash all over. So we used to vacation there all the time. So knowing the place, being familiar with it, obviously helped the process. And the people we got to meet were great people who were all very attuned to the mission of the university. And that to us was, again, a big selling point. Despite their size as the largest Catholic university, to be able to talk to groups of people and to realize after you talk to them that they're very mission driven was great.
I think a lot of students here on campus were surprised with the news, especially because a lot of them found out about it either over social media or a few tweets that broke early before your press conference at DePaul, or they woke up and they saw the release from Patrick Murray in their inbox. I'm just curious, is there a reason students didn't find out directly from you, rather on social media and from the DePaul presser?
There's a certain protocol which institutions tend to follow, and this was standard protocol. There was supposed to be almost simultaneous releases from here and DePaul. And if for any reason it was not simultaneous, then it wasn't simultaneous. We found out after the fact, for example, that the law school didn't get any of the emails coming from this campus, and apparently it was being blocked from the law school standpoint because of some spamming issues arising supposedly out of this campus. So faculty and staff there didn't get any of the announcements until I think the afternoon. At least that's what I was told. I mean, I wasn't here, so I had nothing to do. I mean, once the decision was made and everything was set up, then it was a matter of coordinating between the two public relations. And this is very typical for these types of announcements.
Now, you were here over the weekend when Seton Hall hosted a few hundred prospective students for the open house. We talked then. Currently, you're on your way out. David Bowen, the vice president for university advancements, on his way out. We have an interim provost. I'm wondering, if you're a new college student or a high school senior right now, why are you coming to Seton Hall with so many critical leadership positions void right now?
It's funny. I mean, my philosophy as an administrator, I've always shared this with people. I learned early on that administrators come and go. It's the faculty and staff who are here to stay. They're the ones who embody the culture of the institution. They're the ones who are the soul of the university, particularly your faculty. Students attend the institution because of academic programs. Overwhelmingly, it's going to be because of your academic programs. None of that has changed. Faculty are all going to be here in the fall. And they're the ones who are the past, present, and future of the university. It's not, I'm president. And people, it's fascinating sitting here and listening about the things which, the sky is falling kind of scenario. And it's fascinating because people have very short-term memories. When I became provost here in 2007, I was the fourth chief academic officer in 5 years. Just think of it, the fourth in 5 years. That's a whole lot of transition. Okay. We were not meeting our enrollment management goals, our enrollment goals. My first 3 years here, we had to cut the budget, I think, 4 or 5 times in 3 years. We had a presidential search in 2009, 2010, very public search, where both candidates withdrew from the candidacy. We had our first layoffs in 25 years, June 2010. All of those, we cut 46 positions. 25 people were actually laid off. All of that happened in 2010. I did not know I was going to be interim president till 15 days before I was supposed to be. I mean, so talk about transition. And if you look at the archives of the Setonian, what happened that fall was fairly significant. We had the off-campus shooting and murder of one of our students at a party. And I think we had 4 or 5 students who were shot. Okay. We had rape allegations on campus that semester, my very first semester. We had allegations of armed robbery committed by a current and former basketball player, student athlete at the time. We had a former coach accused of shoplifting also. So all these things, and plus you had we had 36 million in deferred maintenance when I became president. So when people tell me the sky is falling, I think, okay.
It's been worse.
It's been worse. And actually, we've been through leadership transitions. I think what's maybe disconcerting to some is the fact that it looks like you have 3 top leaders who are living close to each other. But people forget that we've had stability for such a long amount of time. And typically, the life of a president, and I think it's 6 or 7 years. Life of a chief academic officer, I think it's 3 to 4 years. So it's not beyond the norm. It is what it is. I mean, it's one has to look at history to understand that this is not unusual. The timing may look kind of odd, but it's not unusual in the history of higher ed or Seton Hall for that matter.
You bring up the last presidential search, and 2 candidates withdrew. It was a messy and prolonged search for the university. So I guess my question for you is, one, are you going to be involved in the search for your replacement? And what lessons has the administration learned, for lack of a better phrase, to avoid such a prolonged search this time around? Because we only have a few months.
I'm not sure what my role is going to be.
Okay.
That's something which is going to be determined by the board, our Board of Regents, in consultation with the trustees and the cardinal and university groups. That's my guess. There's a process which typically happens. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the interim. Keeping in mind that the announcement was just made public. What was it, last week? I'm trying to think back because things kind of... the board is still going through that whole process of what's next. And I'd hate to conjecture, because I'd hate to tie the board in any meaningful way. If I'm asked, then I'll give my opinion, but these processes tend to be very structured in a way. And I expect that there's going to be input from different groups, as there was in the past.
Okay. Are there any early candidates yet?
Your guess is as good as mine. I read all the newspapers, and it's fascinating just to see who supposedly is in the running and so on. And I won't comment either than say
a lot of speculation about Chris Christie, but
yeah, I know the governor. I know all the other names being mentioned, and I have a great deal of respect for a number of them. But
I know, like you said, it's early. But has Cardinal Tobin yet expressed any feeling one way or another, if it's an ordained president or if it's a layman like yourself?
The only time I've talked to the cardinal was when I informed him that I was going to be leaving. I tend to meet with, I met with the cardinal person to person once, and that was, I used to meet with Archbishop Myers, and I continued with the cardinal to talk about upcoming meetings, board meetings and so on. But that's the extent. I haven't talked to
Nothing
cardinal.
related.
Yeah. And one thing I want to clear up, I've seen some news reports saying that the bylaws have been changed. The bylaws are what the bylaws are at this point, right? I was an exception to the bylaws. The way my employment agreement was approved, it was always approved as an exception to the bylaws.
Understood.
So the bylaws have not been changed. Because I've seen that in media, and I thought, where did this come from?
Now, with you and Dr. Robinson soon both to be gone, Dr. Robinson already is, you two were two of the biggest backers behind the medical school. Is there any reason to expect a stoppage in progress there, or stoppage in developments with the medical school?
No, we have a great dean, Dean Stanton, and I've met with her a few times since the announcement actually. We assured her that she has the full board support. We have a board of governors comprised of half Seton Hall representatives, half Hackensack Meridian, and they work together. We have on our board of regents a former president of SUNY Downstate Medical College, and that's Skip Williams, Dr. Williams, and he's been dean or president of I think 3 medical colleges, and that's why we asked him to join the board, because we felt his expertise would be very useful as we move this process forward. We're going to have our site visit hopefully this summer. We're going to submit our application for national accreditation in the next couple of months. Then we're going to have the site visit. Progress continues on the site. The plan is to move into the new facility by late spring, probably summer 2018. And for all those who say the sky is falling also, we're opening the new Welcome Center in January 2018. And we're going to start work on the expansion of the University Center this summer. So building will continue as it is. We have zero deferred maintenance. We invested $150 million in the campus the last 5 years. Mostly 2/3 of it was paid through our cash flow, so to speak. So we're in great financial shape. Moody's just reaffirmed our bond rating this past summer, and they changed our outlook from negative to stable versus 2012. So the outside rating agencies see us as a stable institution. So I see no reason for any concern at this point, unless there's something I'm unaware of.
Now, I do want to ask about future plans, but before that, just a few things in the immediate. I mentioned Dr. Robinson. It was said that he was going to be doing some consulting after his retirement. Has he? Is there any chance that he makes a return, even if temporary, given the vacant positions right now in the administration?
I'm not sure he has any intention of returning.
Okay. And then the Student Government Association recently passed a resolution asking you and the university to formulate a plan to protect DACA students. Has this been delivered to you? Have you responded to it? What's the status of that?
I actually just got it, Wednesday. First time I saw it was yesterday. It was not delivered to our office till sometime last week. I got a call actually, or I think it was an email from Tegan saying that she thought I had it, but I didn't. So it's hard to comment on something which I really haven't had a chance to look at.
Any initial thoughts?
On which part? I saw that the White House just released their latest updates, which apparently would not impact DACA at this point. So at least that's what I'm seeing. I just skimmed through the Chronicle. I think it was Chronicle or Inside Higher Ed, which had a blurb about DACA is untouched in the latest guidelines from the White House or DHS, whoever issued the guidelines. I didn't get to read the whole lot. We'll continue to work as I indicated in the memo, but I really haven't.
We'll be sure to follow up. Yeah. So back to future plans. In August, you spoke about your vision for Seton Hall becoming a top 5 Catholic university. I believe you said top 75 nationwide. What happens to that vision now that you are moving on to a competitor?
I mean, and let me rephrase what you asked me. It was my vision. It was born out of the strategic planning process, which was led by Dr. Mary Balcom, professor of English. She was co-chair along with Greg Burton, who was still associate provost here. And there was a strategic planning committee, which was put forward. It was way back in 2008. And this is an extension of that plan. And what it was is, if you remember the last time, we said we'll be among the top 10 Catholic, top 100 national universities. In fall 2015, at this fall board retreat, we had a meeting with the board and we went over the goals and where we were. We realized we could actually up the goals. So we said, okay, we'll be top 5, top 75, and move it back to 2025. Now, a new president may come in and say, maybe we're too conservative or maybe too optimistic. I fully expect the new president to probably review, at the very least, the plan and the things which went into place and make a determination as to what's needed to move forward. The university has a whole lot of momentum. I mean, just look at everything from the open house, which you were at last Sunday. We had 1187 students show up. That's the highest open house in our history. it surpassed the previous high in, I think it was 2015. It may have been the November open house, which had 1087. So this open house was more than double our typical February open house. Okay. Fundraising is at all-time highs, even including the last campaign. The raising, David did a great job in the 4 years, or actually 5 years he's been here. From the time we got the go-ahead and the funding to do fundraising, we raised 67, just under $70 million in less than 4 years.
Now, you've done so much here, the fundraising, the medical school, a few new colleges, reformed the Big East, among other things.
Yeah, I forgot about the Big East.
Maybe it's because I read so much sports. But you've done a lot here. How do your aspirations compare? What you're going to do at DePaul? Have you thought about that in detail yet?
Well, first of all, it wasn't Gabe doing all of that.
Right.
It's always about the people around you. I learned a long time ago, you surround yourself with people who are smarter than you or know more about something than you. That's the only way you're able to move forward. With DePaul, they've had great leadership under Father Holzschneider, and I have a great deal of respect. I got to know him, obviously, when we were reorganizing the Big East. There was a 6-month period where I saw him 80% of my Sundays during 6. We had meetings. Almost, if there were 4 Sundays a month, 3 of those Sundays I'd be in Big East meetings with Father Dennis, Father Holzschneider, and his leadership team. If you look at what they've accomplished at DePaul, and that was part of the question as I visited their campus. I said, okay, what else is there to do? Right? Because you always any job I take, there has to be some intellectual challenge. Right. Something which is going to drive you, make you want to go to work and so on. I think stay tuned. We're going to launch a new strategic plan at DePaul when I start. And hopefully have it approved by 2018.
Anything specific you want to tackle right away? When the President of the United States takes over, they have the first 100 days plan. What are you looking to address right away in Chicago?
The first thing I'll do is listen, talk to people and listen, which is what I did when I first joined Seton Hall. I think sometimes people underestimate the time of just sitting down and listening to groups of people. Faculty, staff, administrators, students, and alumni, trying to understand what their aspirations are for the institution. I always have a list of things which I think could be accomplished no matter which job I take, and I'll have my own list which no one will see. But in the back of your head, you always say, okay, what about this? Is this possible or not?
Putting presidential duties aside, what are you looking forward to the most about DePaul and about Chicago?
Well, I enjoy meeting people, so that's going to be one of the things I think we're going to enjoy doing. DePaul has significantly more alumni than Seton Hall. I think they have 160,000 or so, 150, 160 alumni throughout the Chicago area, throughout the world. So getting to know people, getting to explore Chicago and all it has to offer. Being closer, obviously, to our daughter is an added benefit. But she's busy, actually. When we were there last week for the announcement, we actually didn't get to see her.
How'd that feel?
It was odd to be within 2-3 miles of where she lives and not see her, but it is. It is what it is. It is what it is, and she's busy, and we were busy, and I realized that even if you're in close proximity, okay, but just that whole explanation, they have a lot of things which are ongoing. They're opening a new basketball arena, for example, in November, and so that's going to be interesting to see. They have a number of big projects which are coming online in 2018 as well. So being part of that excitement, I think, is really neat.
What does it mean to you to be the first layman president at the largest Catholic university in the country?
One thing which struck my wife and I when we went last week was we were just overwhelmed and humbled by the whole thing. The turnout was unexpected. I was told they had to turn people away at least one of the two sites we went to for capacity constraints. The warm welcome we received, I think being the first lay president is, again, it's a great responsibility. It's a very humbling responsibility to follow in the footsteps of the great Vincentians who've preceded me. We got to meet Father Richardson, who was president. He was the 9th president of DePaul. And I'd heard of Father Richardson, but to meet him was something else. And obviously, Father Holsteiner has been there for 14 years now. 13 years, I believe, 13, 14 years. So to follow in their footsteps, it's an enormous task, and you just hope you don't mess up too much, right?
It's always the frame of mind.
Yeah.
This is my last one for you, and I'm going to give you a minute to think about it because maybe you haven't yet. Maybe it's too early. What are you going to miss the most about Seton Hall?
Oh, that's easy. I don't even have to. It's got to be the people. My wife and I have gotten to know quite a few people. The priest community is a big asset for the institution. And it's been recognized by our creditor act as a big asset. So we've been able to forge relationships with members of the priest committee, with the faculty. I've got to know quite a few members of our faculty, our alumni. I've got to know, we spent a week, for example, in Florida just recently. And as my wife and I look back and reflect on the people we've been able to meet, our staff, students, and I still keep in touch with a few of the students I've gotten to know through the years. And as you reflect on the people, the relationships you built, that's what we're going to miss the most. People thought, Gabe, your legacy is going to be Dunkin' Donuts, or the parking deck, or the men's school. I really don't care about that. What I care about are the people. Because I'm reminded, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, I think back to what Sam Walton supposedly told his lawyer, when his lawyer asked him what he regrets the most in life, as he was close to death, supposedly. Okay. Not sure if this is true or not. And Sam Walton said he wished he spent more time with his children. And if you think of it, at the end of our lives, will we say, I wish I went to one more meeting? I wish I'd done this one more deal for the office? No. It's going to be, I wish I'd spent more time with this person. Or I wish I'd gone to see Mount Everest. I don't want to be on my deathbed and say, and I know I won't regret saying, I wish I'd gone to that one meeting which I missed for the Big East and so on. That's just not me.